good evening, and welcome to Motivational Monday with me, your girl, Jacquie O. You guys, I hope y'all have had a great summer so far and a great start of your week. Today is, of course, Monday, August the 5th, and we have a hot show for you on this evening because it's all about the money, honey. And we're going to be talking about, does money have energy? Huh. Have you ever heard that before? Like, does money have energy? Hey, we're going to be talking about that with the fabulous and the brilliant Krisstina Wise. So I cannot wait for you guys to meet her and for us to get into the meat of this because it is going to be good. I hope you have your pens, your notepad so that you can take notes because it's going to be some great nuggets that's going to be dropped on this evening. Also, let us know in the comment section where you are viewing from. We would love to know where you're viewing from. Go ahead and share this broadcast as well, because we know that what we are going to be talking about this evening is going to be a blessing to everyone that watches it, because everyone needs to know about money, right? Everyone needs to know about finances and how it affects us in our everyday living, things that we may not have even thought about before. We are going to talk about that on this evening. So before we get started, I wanted to just share with you an event that we have coming up, and I'm so excited about this event. It is called Refresh and Renew, and me and Julie, the owner of the filling station, we will be doing this event on Thursday, September the 12th from 5 to 7 p.m. in Denton, Texas. So you can register. This is a complimentary event. So you can register online on our website at jackieo.com. So are y'all ready? Are you ready to see or to meet our guest, Miss Krisstina, that's coming up? She will be right up right after this introduction.
Christina Wise is a real estate mogul and investor, millionaire coach, best-selling author, speaker, and creator of several seven-figure businesses. After hitting her freedom number, she dedicated herself to helping other entrepreneurs learn how to build a seven-figure business and a seven-figure personal net worth as a means to achieve financial freedom and retire early. Christina now teaches high-income entrepreneurs how to convert business profits into personal net worth and passive income without sacrificing their health, soul, and sanity. She is the host of the Wealthy podcast, author of Falling for Money, a romance novel for your bank account, and owner of Wealthy and the Wise Money Method for financial success and happiness. Please help us welcome to the stage the beautiful, the brilliant Christina Wise.
Hello, Krisstina.
What an intro. My goodness, that was fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. How are you this evening?
I am amazing. Rainy day here in Park City. We needed it, so it's beautiful and happy to be here this evening.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. That's right. You are in Utah, correct?
I am, yes.
And we have been waiting for this night. Krissina's been on our books for a couple of months now, maybe 3 months, I guess. And so we have been waiting to have this conversation with her about money. So again, thank you, Krisstina, for being with us on this evening. And thank you to everyone that is tuned in. Please be sure that you let us know where you are viewing us from, as well as I hope you have your pens and your notepads ready, because listen, Krisstina is getting ready to bring it. She's getting ready to bring it on. So as we are getting ready to get right into this, Krisstina, I wanted to talk about this one thing about money having energy, because like I have a lot of energy right now. So I would want my money to have that same type of energy that I have. So tell us a little bit about that, and what does that mean? Does your money have energy?
Wow, I love that question, and I don't get asked that question very often. So thank you. And we hear many times people say, "Hey, what is money to you?" And what's the definition of money? And many times those people will say money is energy. And there's truth to that. But what I like to say is we want to give our money energy. And because we, just like our bodies, that if we are not moving, we're not expending energy, we actually lose energy. So money, I like to use money and our health as sometimes metaphors, but to have energy, we need calories. And for money to have energy, we need cash. We actually need money. But then we expend the energy. So we actually stay more energetic by moving our body and exercising and doing things, not being lethargic and sitting around and not doing things. So the same thing with our money. Yes, we want to give our money energy. We want it to move. We want to touch it. We want to move it. We want it to gain momentum. We want it to compound. We want it to be able to spend it. We want to be able to receive it. We want to be able to give it. So it's this movement of money. But for that to happen, the reason I wrote the book, Falling for Money, a romance novel for your bank account, because I wrote it for women that we could fall in love with our money and fall in love with our money in a healthy way where we like, I want to learn this thing. I want to move it. I want to grow it. I want to give it. I want to receive it. I want to earn it. I want to understand it. And our exuberance and our energy around our relationship with it causes that momentum as well. So yes, money has the amount of energy that we give it.
Yeah, I like that. So our money can have energy. We just have to give it some energy.
Yeah, we give it the energy, and the way we do that, so I like to teach with money, especially, you say helping women to think well. That's my mission and my goal in life, that we as women learn how to think well with our money and that we have that confidence and that know-how, because money can be this nebulous, confusing thing that we're maybe great at earning it, but we have fears about investing it. We have fears about what to do with it. We don't quite understand it. We're intimidated by it. Maybe we don't have the confidence, so we don't want to talk about it because we think everybody else understands it. Maybe we don't, or maybe money's math or whatever. Sometimes these limiting beliefs can be. And money is really easy to learn, but it has what I call these first principles that we have to learn. And once we learn these first principles of money, it actually becomes really easy. Like money is not something that any of us cannot master and get good at. And, so that's my mission, is like to learn to think well and behave well and act well with our money so that we can have the money to live and fund our life of abundance. That we as women, when we have money as women, we do great things with money. We really do. And so I think more money in the hands of women that know what to do with money, the world's going to be a much better place.
I agree. Absolutely. I love that. And I love the analogy and just how you put it all together. Very simple for anyone really to understand that. So I like that. So tell us, how can the concept of money as a powerful force influence our daily lives?
Oh my goodness. Money is a powerful force, and money does impact our lives greatly every day. And in this quest of money, the idea with kind of having money, making money, whatever our definition of that, at the end of the day, especially for women, it's when we have money, we understand money, we have investments, we have all the things that we can talk about tonight. Some of the things, if we want to talk about this tonight, ultimately what we're after is money provides safety. Money provides security. Money can provide independence. Money can provide choice. Money can provide just a feeling of gratitude. Money can find getting to a place where money can create like this feeling of happiness, in a way of being able to use it to help our children or to help our family, to help our parents. It can provide so much good, and having that feeling of I can do that, or I have the ability to do it, creates so much feeling of really amazing, like I said, that giving happiness, that type of well-being.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. And when you were talking about that, I was thinking about some of the misconceptions surrounding money. Let's talk a little bit about that. What are some of the misconceptions, and where do you think that they come from when we are talking about money?
Yeah, man, I love these questions. I think there are so many misconceptions around money. The interesting thing is, though, one thing that I do in my money school is that's one of the exercises, and one of the first exercises that we do in the program is we go back to our childhood. And the
Mhm.
exercise is go back to kind of your first memories around when money had an impact on your household. And there's very few people, I don't even know if there's ever been one, but there's very few, if any, that where it's like, whoa, that's a really bad memory with money. And, sometimes it can be a lot of trauma. I mean, I grew up with a lot of trauma, household trauma, and money was a big part of that trauma. And I mean, parents fighting and throwing things, growing up in a trailer park and just always lack and never enough, and parents like always arguing. So this money was this thing that one we didn't have. We were from the wrong side of the streets. Like I said, it wasn't a safe topic in the house. In fact, quite the opposite. So growing up in that environment, I created all these kind of money beliefs that when I became older, I needed to work on those and clear them and replace them. But I think each of us, we have limited money beliefs, or even just these things we believe to be true about money that we've never looked at to see, do I really believe that or not? Or did I inherit that from my family tree, basically? So there are lots of those, Jacqueline, but I think they're unique for everyone, is to go back and say, like, I'd be curious, like, what are some of the first things you heard about money as a kid, or what did you witness as a kid?
Yeah, are you asking me?
Yes.
Um, well, you know what? To be honest and think back, I really don't know.
Huh.
I didn't have any bad memories. I did not have bad memories of money. We really did not talk about money in our home, not because there was like a lot of lack or anything. There were seasons where there was lack, and then there were seasons when there was abundance, but we never really talked about it. So I never really learned about money until in my latter years of life as I got, older, and was just making bad decisions surrounding my money. But I really don't have any bad memories that I could think of.
Well, it's usually either or in most cases. There's about 10% of the households where money was talked about, easy topic. No, I mean, nobody ignored it. It was just, you just talked about it at the dinner table.
Yeah.
90% of everybody else, they usually fall in one of two categories: my category, or your category. My category, where it was a very safe and very unsafe and scary topic. The other category is just wasn't talked about at all. It's like it just wasn't ever a discussion. It was kind
Yeah.
of maybe even swept under the rug. So both of those types of situations usually sets it up, like when it can be like, oh, there's never enough. Like in my case, rich people were bad, rich people were greedy, rich people, lived over there. They're hypocrites. Like I heard all of the things, and so that formed a lot of my opinions, kind of in my early years. And then those that sometimes it wasn't talked about, it kind of can create a belief that, oh, money is something that is shouldn't be talked about. It's not something we should really embrace. It's something we maybe kind of just figure out on our own. Or so again, there's just these things that are built in based on how we grew up with it, and usually one of these two buckets, if you will.
Yeah. And I think, as we were talking about that, and as we were growing up, our parents, and there was a different scenarios, as you were saying, whether it was unsafe, it was safe, or just not spoken of. And I think sometimes it's probably because they did not speak of it in their home growing up. And so they did not speak in our home, with us. And then even like with me raising my children, I really didn't talk about it either as they were growing up. Now, my two older sons, they're older. And because I was a teenage mom at 18. So I definitely didn't talk about money to them because I'm growing and learning with them. But when my daughters came along, it was different because, of course, I was older. My daughter now that is going off to college, I was almost 40 at that time. So, things were different. So I think that was another thing. Maybe when it wasn't discussed, it could have been because our parents just didn't know to discuss it.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that lineage usually carries on until one generation breaks it. And it's like, okay, we're going to break this family, of talking about it or that type of thing. But, usually the things we hear more often is that there's not enough, we can't afford it, money doesn't grow on trees, money's for smart people, uh, only people that have money can invest. And so there's so many beliefs that are out there. And the truth is that money is something that we can all get good at. I mean, that really is the case, and we can all build wealth, and we can all move towards financial independence, and even before that is move to the place of financial security. But like I said, there are these first principles of money but since money's usually not talked about at home, and since money is not taught in school, we go well into adulthood, many times our entire life, without understanding these kind of fundamental first principles that keep what it's over the statistic is somewhere between 78 and about 82% of Americans are paycheck to paycheck, regardless of income. So you could be making $250,000 a year and be under that stress, like, oh man, I have to go to work tomorrow to pay yesterday's bills, and that becomes the lifestyle, and it's very stressful. It causes a lot of stress on the family, on the parents, on the one that's working, or whatever the case is. And that is the most dangerous place, but that's where everybody ends up, is month to month, because there's these it's called Parkinson's law. And Parkinson's law of money states this, and it's called a money law. So this is one of those money laws. And Parkinson's law of money says this: expenses will always rise to match income. And it happens insidiously, it's invisible, and I can speak to an hour just why this law plays out to be true. But if you just believe the law says expenses will always rise to match income, then it has kind of a corollary to that that says what was once a luxury becomes a necessity. So we're always, as the more money we make, we have expectations of what our lifestyle should be at that money. And then we expect, or we want even more. So when we make more money, our lifestyle expenses goes up to match that. And it just keeps going on forever. And that's what keeps people what I call broke. And we can be low income broke, or we can be high income broke, because broke is just living in the constant stress of, holy cow, are we going to make next month's bills?
Yeah.
And that's the situation we want to get out of. And it's very easy once we learn that, oh, there are things that there are kind of these, again, there are these rules that we have to follow when it comes to money to avoid falling under the trap of Parkinson's law.
I like that. And I like how you talked about the law because you can be broke or you can have money, as they say. You can be rich and still live from paycheck to paycheck. Because I think a lot of times people think that people that have money, they don't live paycheck to paycheck. They have it made and they can do whatever they want to do. But that's not true. And you just told us that.
Yeah, in fact, I like to give a distinction, what I call the difference between being rich and being wealthy. And I think it's a really important distinction it's just, this distinction means that there's these two words. We want to distinguish them one from the other because they usually get talked about as the same thing. And being rich, my definition for rich means we can afford the lifestyle. So let's just say we make $500,000 a year. And being rich means we can afford that lifestyle, meaning our $500,000 a year affords the $500,000 lifestyle. So we have the fancy cars, we have the expensive house, we have the vacation home in the mountains, we take the expensive first class vacations, and we do the private schools, and whatever the money can buy at 500,000 or $1,000,000 a year, let me like fill in the blank, whatever that number is. And that's being rich. And it's like, yes, I can afford that lifestyle because my $500,000 a year buys that $500,000 lifestyle. And let's just say, I'm not racking a bunch of credit card debt and so on and so forth. But, usually that lifestyle means that my payments are really high every month. My mortgage payments are high. My 2 luxury vehicles are high. The second house payment is high. The boat payment is high. So there's lots of payments, but again, my income can afford it. So that's what being rich is. And so, but rich is very obvious, meaning we can say, hey, that person's rich. And so we assume they're wealthy. But rich means that if they pull up to the Four Seasons in their Lamborghini, they can afford the Four Seasons and they can afford the Lamborghini, but that doesn't mean they're wealthy. So, but that's what rich is we see it. It's like, oh, look at her jewelry, or look at her bags, or look at the house she lives in, or look at the car she's driving, or look at whatever we associate with being rich. Nothing wrong with being rich, but again, it's not to confuse being rich with being wealthy. What wealth is wealth in a very simple definition that I love. Wealth is the money you haven't spent on the lifestyle. So wealth is what is the money you haven't spent. Wealth is the money sitting there in savings in your rainy day fund. Wealth is the money that's sitting in investments in the stock market. Wealth is the money that's sitting in the Bitcoin. Wealth is the money that's sitting in the real estate investments. Wherever the money you haven't spent that's saved and put over there, that's not spent on lifestyle, that's what wealth is. So you can be rich and live a really rich lifestyle and still be month to month, because you have to go still earn that $500,000 every single year to afford that lifestyle. What being wealthy is wealthy. You can be wealthy, let's say, on 100,000 a year as an example. But wealthy means, hey, the true definition of wealth means I have $2 million that's invested, and that $2 million pays me $100,000 a year through the dividends that money's paying me. And I'm wealthy, meaning that my assets pay for my $100,000 lifestyle. So am I affording a $500,000 lifestyle? No. But I'm wealthy because I have the choice and the independence to do whatever I want to do with my time, because I have the money sitting as a millionaire in net worth that pays for that lifestyle. And so what I teach is like, okay, whatever our definition of rich is means we're earn enough money to live our desired lifestyle according to the way we want to live it. But we also aren't spending all of that money because we also want to become wealthy. And we can be rich at $100,000 if that's the lifestyle that we want and not be wealthy. We could be rich at $500,000 and not be wealthy. And we can have wealth and have, not necessarily look like we're rich. Like I could drive an old pickup truck and have $10 million sitting in the bank, and but wealth is invisible is my point. Like nobody can see my financial statements. They can't see my bank, my bank statements. So wealth is invisible and it can't be seen. So that's where we want to go is move from this place of like, hey, yeah, I want a rich life. I want to live life to its fullest, whatever I can afford, but not at the expense of becoming wealthy. And that's the dance, is to learn through this money game how we build wealth while we're earning a living and paying our bills and doing all the things that we need to do to, keep a roof over our head.
Yeah, I love that. And that brings me to my next question. So we know that we are in some pretty critical times, and someone may be watching and they heard how you define being rich and being wealthy, and they may be saying, we're in the, the inflation, and I am living paycheck to paycheck. How do I get there? Like, how do I get to the point? Can I save? Can I do this? Because they may feel like I can't save, or I can't invest. Let's talk a little bit about that. And can that happen? Is that realistic?
Yeah, I love that question. I've found that when it comes to saving, that people usually fit in one of three categories. And the first category are those that save. No matter how much money they make or don't make, they're savers. They just save. And there's just a certain portion of the population that they're just always going to save. And so it's to understand that saving has little to do with income. It has some, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But that's the first category, is they just save. My mom was a saver, so we had very little. It was one of the conflicts between my parents when I was young, is because my mom really wanted to save and just have some money sit in a bank account. My dad was a big risk taker, spender, and so that was a big part of this conflict. Like, they never resolved it. That ended up in divorce. But it's just, I just remember my mom, and I picked up some of that from my mother because it just felt safer to have some of those savings. So it's having the desire to save regardless of income, because there are those that earn low incomes that save, and those, like we talked about, earn high incomes and don't save a dollar. So that's category number one. The second category are those that don't think they can save.
Mm-hmm.
And so usually it's narrative, meaning, and sometimes this is true, but in a majority of cases, it's just a belief that I'm paycheck to paycheck. I can't save. There's no way I can save. I've never been able to save. I'll never be able to save. And so again, that's a belief, and sometimes it's true. Many times we just have to kind of deconstruct it in a way to see, is it true, or is that just a narrative and belief that we're holding on to? And then the third category is the belief that I don't need to save. And a lot of times that's the higher income earners, is like, hey, I make $500,000 a year. I don't need to save. I'm always going to make this money. I'm always going to be fine. And that usually works until it doesn't work anymore. So it's just first is to identify which of those three categories we're in. But, the first one's good. It's like, I save, so we don't need to talk about that one. But the other two, it's that no matter, there's a certain level of income that's just survival, right? Meaning there really isn't space to save, because it's just buying the groceries, and it's just paying the rent, and it's just. And it's like, yeah, there's not room to save. But for everybody over that, like I said, in my money school, most of those that are going to, in my program, are in that second category, second or third. But it's like, Christina, what are you talking about? I don't have the money to save. We're paycheck to paycheck. But then when I have them go through these exercises and they look at where all their money is going,
Yeah.
and they have to itemize every dollar over the last 90 days. And they have what I call these really holy cow moments of, I had no idea I was spending that amount of money on X. Because since we're not tracking our money and looking at our money just evaporates. It just gets spent. And we don't know that those 10 and 20 and 50 and $75 purchases, how quickly they add up, and how fast those subscriptions add up, and how much eating out might add up. And, because we're out of survival mode, we're maybe an upper middle class family or something. But upper middle class, it's this, we start spending according to these expectations. And when they do the exercise, it's like, I just found the $1,000 that I thought I couldn't save was going on these things I didn't know it was going towards. So that's what I usually save to that. And the exercise is pretty simple. It's just that is if we are in the story of I can't save, we want to get, is that true or not? And just go back 90 days, itemize every expense, and circle the ones. It's like, okay, yeah, didn't have to spend that. Oh, I didn't have to go overboard at Target. Oh, I didn't need to do XYZ. And notice that for most of us, there's some room for saving.
Yeah. And I love how you said that too, because I remember, and I did this, and I probably need to go back to doing this because it was very effective for me with the Dave Ramsey, the envelope system. The envelope system, it really worked because number one, I don't really carry cash. Well, not I don't really, I don't. And so it was easy for me just to swipe, swipe, swipe. And as you were stating, that adds up. And before you know it, you have just spent hundreds of dollars in a matter of minutes. And you're thinking, what did I just do? But when I was doing that system, I had my money, whatever it was going to be, in that envelope. And when I was done with it, I was just done with it. And I had to make sure that, okay, I'm spending wisely. And another thing that I did was I cut out going to the salon, getting my hair done. I learned how to do my own hair, my nails. I did, and if I did get my nails done, I just went and got a manicure. So like little things like that, like you were saying, that you can really, and I'm not saying not to treat yourself because you can, but some of us were going 2 times a month, and you could really cut that out, as well as eating out. So now we're going to cook. We're going to buy groceries, meal prep. So, and my husband, when I remarried, he is a big saver. And so he saves, like, he's just a really good saver. So that helped me to be better than what I was, because I wasn't as big of a saver.
It's nice to be married to a saver, for sure. Yeah, and the thing is, another thing that we do in my program is that everybody gets this bracelet, and it's just this little plastic bracelet. But during the 12 weeks of the class, they wear this bracelet, and at first it doesn't really make sense. But when you go through this, and it says, "Is this worth my freedom?" Because the mindset that I teach is this desire to become a millionaire. And I believe that to get anywhere in life, we need to know where we're going, like planting that flag, that destination, that goal, that whatever that is. We have to plant the flag first so that we know the direction to go, and we can watch the milestones and, all the things. And it might be bumpy along the way, but at least we know that that's the direction we're headed. And so the first thing that I have everybody do is ask the question, do you want to be a millionaire? And what I mean by millionaire is that many people confuse millionaire by like, hey, I want to spend $1 million a year. And that's not what I mean. But what I mean by millionaire means we have $1 million in the bank. And in the bank, I mean invested. Let's just say we have $1 million in an index fund in the stock market. And anybody can do this. Like, you don't have to know anything about investing. And over time, just put a certain percentage of your money into the index fund in a stock market. I can show everybody how to do it. I do this in my class, like in 15 minutes, how easy it is. And you set the goals. I want to become a net worth millionaire, not including the equity in my home. And that's the first step. And the first step, that's the stake in the ground. And that's what like I said, I have all of my students do that and emotionally connect to it, of how that will feel, the financial security, the safety, the confidence, the pride, all the things, because only 9% of Americans in this country are net worth millionaires. And a heavy percentage of those is they're counting the equity in their house, which I don't count. There's reasons for that. But that's the thing, only 9%. So the goal is I'm going to become part of the 9%. Mm-hmm. And that's my goal. So, and the thing is, it's not hard. Most everybody can do it. But the thing is, only 9% do. And the question is, why is that? And I think the why is that is first is because we're not with desire, conviction. That's what I'm going to do and work back from. So when everybody in the class says, I'm going to become a millionaire, we do some simple math and some reverse engineering to figure out how that's going to be possible. But then they get this bracelet that says, is it worth my freedom? Because what becoming a millionaire is freedom, choice, security, all these just feelings, lack of stress, lack of or less stress, less financial anxiety, all these things. And so that way, like you said, that, is going to get my nail done and my hair done, twice a month. And is it worth my freedom? And it just causes that pause on some of the purchases to say, this one, yeah, this is really important to me. This is me. This is a meaningful expense. This has importance to my life. Like maybe it's going on date nights. It's like, hey, we're going to keep out. We're not going to eat out so much, but date nights are really important. Like my husband and I, every Friday we do date night, and it's $100 without fail minimum to go to date night. But that's meaningful to us. Like that's a very important part. So we're not going to cut that out, but we cut out the rest of the DoorDash that we were doing it for convenience, right? So it's
Right.
determining the meaning and the meaningful in these expenses, and everything else is like, is it worth my freedom? I'm like, no, it's not. We don't need to do this because that's keeping us from putting that $500 into our savings bucket. And that savings bucket is the freedom bucket. And that's the millionaire bucket. And so that's why we're not going to spend it, is because we're convicted to become that, to become that millionaire.
Yeah. I love that. The freedom bucket. Who wants to be free? Y'all raise your hands. Put it in the comment section that I want to be free. Listen, we are having a really great conversation with Krisstina on this evening, and we're talking about all things money, all the things that has to do with money, finances, the misconceptions. And we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking to Krisstina. Maybe she can share with us some tips, some things to help us get there, get to our destination. But before we do that, I really liked what you said about putting that stake in the ground, right? And celebrating those milestones. And I believe that that's very important for us to do that in our finances and really everything in life that we're doing, that we have to have that flag in the ground and we know where we're going. We have this plan of where we're going so that we can get there. So again, we will be right back after this commercial break, and we hope you guys stick with us. We'll be right back.
Do you need to unwind and escape the chaos? Find a comfortable spot and slip on your headphones. Sit back, press play, and listen to your favorite music. Get lost in a world of dreamy tracks and soothing tunes. Your peace, your way. Through smiles, laughter, and shared moments, human connection bridges hearts, transcending barriers, and illuminating the beauty of our shared humanity. In every glance, touch, and conversation, we find solace, understanding, and belonging. Cherish the bonds that unite us, for in them lies the essence of our existence. It's all about the connection. Want to boost your health and energy? Start running. It's the perfect way to strengthen your heart, clear your mind, and stay fit. Lace up, hit the pavement, and feel the rush of adrenaline. Transform your life one step at a time. Run for your health. Run for you. Discover the Glow Collection by Jacquie O, where the magic lies in embracing healthy skin, not chasing perfection. Our all-natural skincare line leaves your skin nourished and hydrated, radiating a natural glow, because we believe in the beauty of authenticity. Say goodbye to unrealistic standards and say hello to your best skin. Shop the Glow Collection by Jacquie O at www.jackieo.com. Your journey to naturally radiant skin begins here.
Welcome back to Motivational Monday. This is me, your girl Jacquie, with Jacquie O, and my special guest, Krisstina Wise, and we are talking about all the things that has to do with money. And our topic tonight is, does money have energy? And we have had a great conversation so far talking about that. And if you missed the first part of the show, please go back and watch the replay and share this with others, because we talked about some really good information that we know will be very beneficial to you and to others around you, because we're all about helping you to think well and to live well. So as we get back into this conversation with Krisstina, we want to talk about some strategies. So we've talked about the law of money. We've talked about some misconceptions, about saving, about rich versus wealthy. So now we want to talk a little bit about how can we get there? How can we get there? And how can we get rid of all the things that we've heard, whether it was growing up or even as an adult? How do we get to this point that we need to get to have that freedom?
Yeah, and so really, and I like everybody like to really connect and like take a deep breath and just imagine what it would feel like to have that financial freedom, to just know there's plenty of money. We're not paycheck to paycheck. If we lost our job, if we quit our job, that it doesn't matter. There's plenty of money there that's going to take care of us. And that's what we're going for. And it's to, another way I like to think about it is that every bit of savings we have is a bit of the future we control. So that's what savings is. Savings is that money. It's savings is abundance. The money we haven't spent yet, this wealth, that is what abundance is. And so we create the abundance. And that's part of our money journey is like, yes, there's the difference between the mindsets between scarcity, never enough, and an abundance mindset. So we need that abundance mindset, like I will, and create this abundance. And that's our job is to create abundance. And that is the money we haven't spent in the form of cash and assets. And so I'll talk about that in a second. But every bit of savings is a piece of the future of your future that you own. That's what freedom is, that we own that future, that freedom of choice, because we don't have to spend every waking hour worried about or working for the money. So that's what we're doing is we're buying our future back, basically, through creating this abundance. So the strategies for this is that when we understand the law, Parkinson's law, that expenses will always rise to match income, is to say, okay, I don't want to be a victim of that law anymore. I want to take control. So a couple of things I'll say is first is I like to think like money's like this three-legged stool. And to hold a stool is not sturdy with two legs. It really needs three. It can have four or more, but it needs at least three legs. And very quickly, the three legs of money so money's sturdy for you is one is our money mindset. So one of the strategies or one of the things we want to do is what we talked about earlier is to really unravel, look at what are my money beliefs? What did I inherit from my parents? What beliefs are these limiting beliefs I still hold on to that are subconscious? These are very deep rooted subconscious money beliefs that are still running the show and we don't even realize it. So that's step one, is to take the time, take 30 minutes, an hour, and just spend time with you and a pencil or a pen and start a journal and start writing these down. And then just go to the exercise. Again, these are things we do in the money school, but it's just do the exercise. Like, is that belief serving me or not serving me? And if it's not serving me, is there a money belief that's also true because it's proven true for other people that I can replace it with? So that's the first leg of the stool, is our money mindset. And we all have limited money beliefs that, we need to clear or at least become aware of. The second leg of the stool is what I call your relationship with money. And your relationship with money is just that, is relationships built on time. It's built on attention. It's built on how we feel about something. And so it's really important to develop a relationship with money. And that's why my book, Falling for Money, is all about is this relationship. And this relationship is this desire to want to get to know our money, this desire to want to learn about it, to want to count it, to want to spend time with it, to want to be grateful for it, to want to get some confidence with it. And again, it's just we want to develop this really healthy relationship. And a lot of that relationship is based on time. And I always like to say, imagine if you have a spouse and you ignore your spouse, you complain about your spouse, you never give very little attention to your spouse, that relationship is probably not going to be healthy in the long run. But if you tell your spouse you love them all the time, if you treat your spouse with love and honor and respect, if you spend quality time with your spouse, if you say great, if you're not complaining, but you're saying words of gratitude, same spouse, different relationship is going to probably create something radically different, assuming they're a good person. So that's the same with our money. Is our money needs gratitude, appreciation, time, uh, attention, love, respect, for it to be honored in a way, not in a bad, like not in a, we're putting money on a pedestal, but just honoring it for the good that it does and these different things. And so that's the second leg of the stool. And some it just takes a little bit of time to say, hey, how do I spend time with my money, and what are the things I can do? Then the third leg of the stool of money is what I call the skill of money. And the skill of money is, like I said, these first principles, and it's mostly about our behavior with money. It's learning the basics, just the financial literacy that we weren't taught in school, that we have to learn as adults, usually on our own, one way or another. So it's the financial literacy combined with the financial behavior. That's the behavior that's in alignment with creating our abundance, that's on that track to become a millionaire. And it's simple in the sense of here's really the formula for becoming wealthy. And it's spend less than you make. That's it. That's the formula for becoming wealthy, to spend less than you make, which means you're not part of Parkinson's law. And you have to learn to invest the difference. You have to put your money to work so that it grows and compounds over time. And time and money is the best relationship, because money takes time to start compounding, that snowball effect that takes. And the only way to become wealthy, if we don't inherit our wealth, is, and that's because somebody before us did the same thing, is we have to put our money to work. And if we spend all of our money, we can't put a certain percentage of our money to work. And that's what we do. So it's sounds easier than done, but there's the reason why only 9% of Americans are millionaires is because here's a kind of just what I think is a money rule. Part of the, well, I guess the skill of money, I think the number one financial skill that we can develop is not caring what other people think.
Mm.
And I mean, again, it's like, it's not a difficult concept to understand, but it's so profound, is that our number one financial skill is the need not to impress people, because that's what keeps us from saving. As we go up in earnings, we go up like in social status, and we need to blend in with everybody else at our same social status. So we have to buy the same houses. We have to buy the same cars. We have to go on the same types of vacations. We have to wear the same logos on our shirts. We need to have the same kind of bags. And the reason why this is hard is because this is very natural. It's biological. We want to fit in. We want to be accepted. We want to be liked. We want to be respected. And so this is a very human thing. And that's why Parkinson's law works. And so how we work against that to develop kind of this financial muscle is the first thing we have to just take on, is like, I'm not spending money to impress anybody.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's like the hardest part, but it's so built in that, like, the social pressure is so strong. It's like a gravitational force that's always working kind of against us, combined with this other gravitational force, which is like this dopamine, that when we buy something or we do these things, that we get like these dopamine hits. And buying's really easy. And so it's so easy to buy on Amazon. It's so easy to swipe our credit card. It's so easy to do Venmo. So now today, more than ever, it's so easy to spend money, and we lose track of how much these little purchases add up to. So these two things together working against us makes it really difficult to do something that should otherwise be pretty easy. But
Mm.
that's it. Like, there's no $1,000,000 strategy that is guaranteed to make you wealthy. It's these really, the thing is, we can't spend everything we make. We have to have a certain delta, and we have to invest that every single month for basically our entire working life to let that money grow and compound until one day there's this tipping point where the money from our assets matches the amount of money we make from our earnings. And that's this beautiful moment of where all of the saving makes sense, because you finally get it, like, oh my gosh, I work 50 hours a week to make $100,000, and my money just made me $100,000. And that's that tipping point. And once it starts building from there, it's game on. So I teach a lot of these concepts, like all these concepts, and break it down like to real numbers on my YouTube channel. But again, it goes back to fighting these forces. And I think it starts with putting the stake in the ground and always checking is this worth my freedom? And then just having some type of automation that makes sure that we're putting that money aside once we get to a certain level of earnings, that we're beyond just that survival level.
I love it. And you all, Krisstina does have a YouTube channel. And you know what? I got an email because I'm on your email list. And I got an email today. And as I was reading through it, I wanted to share some of these things because and I'll put them in the caption, but I also would like for you all to go and subscribe to her YouTube channel so you can get all of this great information. But she did an episode, and there were 5 takeaways from the episode and that they did on finances. And one of them was about the mindset. And you talked about that, of how the mindset matters. And it says changing your mindset about money is the first step towards financial freedom. And I know that's very simple, as you just gave us the 3-legged strategy of how it's very simple for us to do that. But I think a lot of times people just feel like, uh, no, it's not that simple, but it really is that simple. And it's all a matter of you changing your mindset, changing how you think about it. Instead of saying, oh, no, I can't. Yes, I can, because I want that financial freedom. And you also had on here earn, spend, invest, keeping the margin, the importance of financial literacy. Just like tonight, we have this show that we're talking about this because it is important for us to talk about it and to keep it in the forefront, because it may be a reminder for some and it may be new for others, for us to have a romance with our finances. And I love that. I love the name of that novel, that your book that you have, and I'm definitely going to get that. And then just having the relationship with money, having a healthy relationship with money, because I think a lot of times we don't see money as having a relationship with it. We just see, oh, it's money. We have to spend it. We got to pay bills. We got to do this, but not really, as you were saying, not putting it on a pedestal and idolizing it, but really just having that relationship with it and just understanding really money, the concept of it, and how we're spending it. So,
Absolutely. Like, perfect summary and all of it. And again, I like to say a couple of things, that money is not understood because it's not taught. And so it can come with so much shame and guilt and remorse and feeling bad about ourselves and not measuring up. And so again, the not easy part is like, it can be heavy. And we compare ourselves, and it looks like everybody else is doing better than we are. And it's not true. Oh, by the way, I mean, I know from where I sit and working with thousands of people now that almost everyone's kind of in a similar boat one way or another. And that to try to work through this guilt and shame if possible, because those are really heavy, kind of low vibration. And I know this is true. And the truth is, no matter where you are in your financial situation, you can improve it by just learning and doing a few things differently. It is not complex. The complexity is the things I just talked about, is all these pressures, social pressures and different things. That's the hard thing. But the easy part is that it's not difficult to learn. We can all apply these principles, and we can all change our financial situation by following these financial principles once we learn them. So I just like to say, like, I know some of these feelings can be really heavy, and we can get stuck there because we don't think there's a way out, or the limiting belief is I'm not smart enough, or I don't like numbers, or I'm not good at those things, or, and that's all story. It's just story we've told ourselves, and it's not true. Like
Yeah.
we can all get good at this. I promise.
Yeah, absolutely. You all, we are going to take one more quick commercial break. And when we come back, Krisstina will be giving us her last words that she would like to share with the audience, as well as sharing how you can get in contact with her, how you can subscribe to her YouTube channel, how you can take a class. So we'll be right back with that information after this break.
In the whirlwind of life, it's easy to forget the importance of self-care. Carving out time for yourself isn't an act of selfishness, it's an essential commitment. It's the perfect moment to rejuvenate your mind, nurture your body, and soothe your soul. Prioritize yourself and embrace the opportunity to take a break just for you. Make self-care a priority, because when you're at your best, everything around you flourishes. Discover the Glow Collection by Jacquie O, where the magic lies in embracing healthy skin, not chasing perfection. Our all-natural skincare line leaves your skin nourished and hydrated, radiating a natural glow, because we believe in the beauty of authenticity. Say goodbye to unrealistic standards and say hello to your best skin. Shop the Glow Collection by Jacquie O at www.jacquieo.com. Your journey to naturally radiant skin begins here. Join me, your girl, Jacquie O, for Motivational Monday, every first Monday of the month at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll be streaming live on our Facebook page at Jacquie O Blog and our YouTube channel at Jacquie O. Join us for an hour filled with inspiration, motivation, and valuable information aimed at helping you to live and think well. Motivational Monday with me, your girl, Jacquie O, promises to be a time of empowerment and positivity. Mark your calendars and be ready to be uplifted and motivated to embrace the best version of yourself.
Welcome back to Motivational Monday with me, your girl, Jacquie O, and our special guest, Krisstina Wise. As we are wrapping up our show on this evening, and Krisstina will be sharing with us how her last words that she would like to leave with our audience, as well as how you can get in contact with her, how you can take some classes, whatever you want to share with us, Krisstina. The floor is yours.
Awesome. I'll end by just telling a little story. And the story is that I shared, I started off in some pretty impoverished circumstances and situations. And so I was very motivated by money. Like, I wanted to make money. I learned from a young age that, I lifted things. I did all sorts of bad things when I was a kid, just trying to survive and have jeans that weren't too short because we bought them we got them from the secondhand store or something. So I was very motivated by money. I learned how to make money at a young age. And then I got into, in my, after college and putting myself through college, I got into real estate and I started earning a lot of money. I was a hard worker, hustle, motivated my money at first, and at all costs. And I made a lot of money. I was top sales in my city and became very recognized. And again, I just had so much, I'd never seen that kind of money. I didn't even know it was possible because I'd never had money my entire life, except just, the very basics. And then about 5 years into this money game and earning a good amount, like hundreds of thousands of dollars a year from a kid that we probably never made more than $20,000 a year, is that Um, 5 years into this, I found myself in a marriage. The marriage was pretty abusive. It was kind of ugly behind the scenes. On work, I had my work face. At home, it was very different. And I finally left that marriage. But when I left that marriage, I was so good at making it, but I didn't understand money. And I left that marriage and I left the big house, the big cars, and I was bankrupt. I couldn't afford my car payment. I'd couldn't afford the school for my kids. We had to move out of the big house to this teeny tiny duplex on the wrong side of town it was infested with cockroaches, and I had nothing. I lost it. I didn't have anything, and I was starting over. And this moment, like, that I was just totally broken. We just moved into this place. The only reason why we could even move in is because colleagues at work actually paid the utility bills and filled the refrigerator and brought over extra furniture. And thank God, because I don't even know what I would have done if it weren't for some of the generosity of people I worked with. But I had nothing. And there was this moment where I was just so broken and I'm bawling. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to get out of the situation. And my kids, they're like 3 and 4 at the time, and they're on me like, Mama, what's wrong? What's wrong? And they're bawling and again, I was at this place in life, and I'm sure almost everybody can relate, where you just don't even know a way out or what to do. And it was my kids on me, that my little kids were trying to take care of me in this moment, that I had this, like, this isn't okay. And I realized I was recreating my entire childhood. I worked so hard to escape it, and I was recreating it with abuse and with this, just money fights all the time. And now I was in a situation, I was completely broke. And I just made it this, like, at that moment, I realized, like, Christina, there's nobody to save you. You've got to figure this out. And it's kind of after I got over my pity party and really just had to come to terms with this. But my question was, Christina, how did you earn hundreds of $1,000s a year and wind up to a place where you cannot literally feed your children? And it escaped me. Like, I didn't know an answer because I thought I had it all figured out. And so that takes me, I tell that story because what I learned from money, I made it my life's mission to learn and study money, to escape this situation and not create this family dynamic that had been, I don't know, 3 or 4 generations before this, that I wanted to break it. And so that's the beginning of this journey, and why I'm teaching it now today is because I made a choice in that moment. Like, no, this is not going to carry on. So part of that learning, what I'll close with tonight, is that since money's not taught in school, we don't understand that there are these 3 parts of money, and they're integrated, but they're also very distinct. And the first one is we have to learn how to make money. So many times, if we just aren't earning enough, that we get stuck at certain earning, and because we just haven't learned how to make more money or how to create more abundance out of, a lot of that's money mindset, some of it's skills. But that's one thing. It's like, hey, it's doing whatever skilled acquisition or money mindset work that gets us out of this unstuck of, like, I can't earn more than X. And that's one part of the money journey. And my thing was, in that story I just told you, like, I was really great at making the money, like, really great. I just love making it, and that's never been my issue. But there's a second category of money, and the second category of money that's distinct from making it is keeping money. And it's, the first one's how to make money. The second one is how to keep money. I didn't know how to keep it. Part of that is I didn't feel I was worthy of keeping it, so I just spend it as much, but a lot of it I didn't know how to keep it. And I learned that there's a skill to keeping money that's different than making it. And it's to understand with these monies that, yeah, we have to learn how to make it and make enough of it, but we also have to learn how to keep it. And that's keeping it, that most of what I've talked about in the program is Parkinson's law is going to be in effect if we don't know how to keep it. So it's learning the skill of keeping it. And there's a skill to it, meaning we have to learn how to do it. It's not obvious. And then the final piece is learning how to grow our money by investing it. And it's not, none of the 3 are really, simple, not easy, easy, not simple. I never get that right. But we do have to put a certain portion of our money to work to let that, those 20, 30 years really gain. I heard some quote, Jackie, that Warren Buffett, like 90% of Warren Buffett's money, it's after he's 60, because his first 50 year or 40 years of working was all building, and we only knew who Warren Buffett was after he turned 60.
Yeah.
And so that's the compounding. So I'll complete there by saying that there's these 3 money categories, and that's part of our journey to learn it, and we all can. And the best way to find me is my YouTube channel, where I teach all this in little sound bites. It makes it really easy to consume and to apply. And that's just at Krisstina Wise on YouTube.
All right. Well, again, Krisstina, thank you so much for being with us on this evening. And I hope you all enjoyed, all of our viewing audience, that you enjoyed our show. If you caught us in between or wherever you caught us and it wasn't the beginning, we ask that you would just go back to the beginning and watch the replay, share this episode with others, because again, it was some really good information that was shared. And you can also find Krisstina on YouTube, and it's Krisstina, Krisstina Wise, Wise is where you can find her. So we hope you all have a good rest of your week, and we will be back in September, the first Monday in September. I know that is Labor Day, but listen, it's going to be a fireworks show, because that show will be our last show for the season, and we'll be back January 2025. And we have another firecracker that's going to be with us all the way from LA. She is amazing, amazing. So mark your calendars. I believe that's September the 4th, the first Monday in September at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, thank you all so much for tuning in. And Krisstina, thank you for joining us on this evening.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.